Welcome to Data Structure course. Hi, I'm Swapnil Chaudhary. In previous sessions, we learned some stack applications like polish notation, reverse polish notation. In that, we learn how to use stack to convert the expressions like infix to postfix, infix to prefix, prefix to infix, prefix to postfix, postfix to infix, postfix to prefix. So all these conversions we cover in our previous sessions. Now today we are going to see the another application where we use stack in compiler designing. In a compiler designing. So you may very well familiar with the recursion concept. Recursion is the process of function calling itself. In C programming, we learned that if the function call itself, then it is called as recursion. For example, here I am going to explain the example of factorial to find the factorial of any number. So how we can find the factorial of any number? So basically what we are going to do, suppose if I want to find a factorial of 5, so what I am going to do, I am going to decrement this 5 by 1, 4, 3, 2, 1 and multiply by the lesser number. Okay, so 5 4s are 20, 23s are 60, 62s are 120, 120 1s are 120. So what is the factorial of 5? That is 120. Okay, so same concept we are going to implement using C programming. Okay, so what I did here, I create one factorial function. Okay, and this function, what it's going to do, this function call itself again and again till the condition is satisfied. So this is what recursion. This is what recursion. So we can see that this is what our function, and this function is called itself inside the body of this function. It is calling itself. So this is what a recursion. So simple definition of function recursion is what? The process of a function calling itself. So this is what a recursion. Now we are going to see how stack will help to perform recursive function call. How stack will help to perform recursive function call. Okay, so suppose if I pass integer x, so I am going to pass x is equal to 3. So what I want to do, I want to find the factorial of 3. So here what I did, I pass x is equal to 3 as an input. Now our program control jumps to here. Now here we are declaring one variable, that is f, in the same function. Now the next statement is what? If x is equal to 1. So what is the value of x now? X value is 3. Now 3 is equal to 1. No, condition is not satisfied. It will not jump to the if part. So in the if part, I am simply written 1. Okay, so it will not jump to the if part. It will jump to the else part. So this condition is not satisfying. Since x value is 3, 3 is equal to 1, condition false, it will jump else part. Now in else part, what we are doing, we have the variable declare. We have already declared this variable f, and in that variable I am going to collect the outcome coming from this expression. Now here we have x. So what is the value of x? That is the 3 into factorial. So here what I am going to do, I am going to call the same function from itself. So again factorial is equal to x minus 1. Factorial is equal to x minus 1. So factorial is equal to x minus 1. So what is the value of x? That is 3. 3 minus 1, that is 2. So this 2 is going to pass this factorial function. Now from here what happened? All the control of compiler jumps to the function itself. So what I am going to do, I am create a duplicate copy of this factorial function over here for understanding only. Okay. So from here control jumps to the factorial function again. So that time what compiler did, it copy all the variables value like x value, f value and this factorial functions value. So basically what compiler going to do, copy all the variables value and put that value on the top of the stack. So this is what your stack, and we are going to assume that here we are going to store the value of x, that is equal to 3, value of f, that is equal to x into fact of x minus 1. So all this value stored on the top of the stack. So who will going to did this? Compiler. Okay. Now after pushing all these variables and flags value on the top of the stack, compiler jumps to the control to new copy of fact. Basically the function call itself. Now here what we get, 3 minus 1, that is 2. Now here x is equal to what? 2. X is equal to what? 2. Now control jumps to the next line. Again it is declaring variable, that is f. Now if x is equal to 1, check what is the x value now, that is 2 is equal to 1. Condition false, it will jump to the else part. Now in else what we are going to do, f is equal to x. What is the value of x? That is 2 into factorial of x minus 1, that is 2 minus 1, that is 1. Okay, that is equal to 1. So what happened here again? We are calling recursive function call. We are calling the function itself again. So what happened? Before jump to the control from this to new copy of factorial, it will copy all the flag values, variable value on the top of the stack. Now again here x is equal to 2 and f is equal to what is that, 2 into whatever factorial value coming from that function. So we assume that, so compiler copy this content again at the top of the stack. So now your top is pointing to here. Now control jumps to from here to new copy of factorial function. Now here what is the x value? 2 minus 1, that is 1. So what is the x value here? X is equal to 1. Now f is initialized, declare again, not initialized. If x is equal to 1, what is the x value now? X value is 1. So 1 is equal to 1, condition satisfied. So here what happened? Here condition is satisfying. Okay. Here condition is satisfied. So your control jump to the if part. And in the if part, what code we return? We return is equal to, we return value of x, that is 1. So basically we are returning 1 only, not value of x. We are returning 1. So once you return from this second copy of factorial, the control returns to the previous call. Function returns to the previous call. So now from here, function returns to the previous call. So previous call from here. So basically this factorial function returns value 1 to this expression. So here we get 1 and we have already the x value, that is 2. 1 into 2, 2 into 1, that is 2. So now 2 is assigned to f. So once we return control from this factorial function to here, what happened? The compiler pops this all the variables value and factorial flags value to the program again, in the memory again. We cannot say program, in the memory again. So now these values are popped from the top of the stacks. Now top is pointing to here. And then this value get to the this function, and what we are in the memory, and what we are getting 2 into 1, that is equal to 2. So now 2, f is equal to what? Now here f is equal to what? 2. Now what happened? The next line is what? Return f. So from here we are returning the value, that is 2. Where? From last time, where? So we are going to the compiler. Compiler will check in a top of the stack. So top of the stack say we are it is calling from here. So value of their variable is x is equal to 3 and the function is this. So we are going to pop this from the top of the stack and put it here. So now your control returns to here. Control returns to here. And here we are returning that fact of x minus 1, that is 2 factorial is 2 to this function. Now here what happened? 3 into 2. 3 into 2, that is equal to 6. Now f is equal to what? 6. Sorry. F is equal to what? 6. Now this function, this f is the returns. So again here I am writing return keyword. So this return will returns to the main function. To the main function. Okay, to the main function. Are you getting me? To the main function. This function f will returns to the main function. And finally, see, from here I am calling factorial function. It will jump to the here, then here, and then here, and returns from here, then returns from here, and finally it returns from here to main function. So in this way, we are going to use stack. In this way, we are going to use stack, or basically compiler will going to use stack internally, while we are going to use recursive function call. So recursion, while performing recursion means performing function call itself, that time we are going to use indirectly or directly stack. So that is why recursion is one of the application of stack. Now we are going to see another application of stack, that is Tower of Hanai. That is Tower of Hanai. So this is what one game puzzle. What is that? Tower of Hanai. This is one puzzle. So this is what a small puzzle. I hope many of you very well familiar with this concept. Okay. A puzzle in which discs are moved from one tower to another according to some rules. So we are going to see that rules. What is that rules? Okay. The first rule is, when a disc is moved from one peg, it must be placed on another. Then second rule is, only one disc may be moved at a time, and it must be the top disk on a tower. Okay, this is second rule. And the third rule is what? A larger disk may never be placed upon a smaller disk. Okay, so these are three basic rules of tower of Haney puzzle. So what is the tower of Haney puzzle? You have one tower, okay, where you have some disks, like this is what a disk 1, then the smaller disks on the top of the larger disk, that is disk 2, and this is what a disk 3. Okay, and this is what peg A, and you have two more pegs here. So peg B, and this is what peg C. Okay, so here we have two more pegs. Okay, so here rule is what? First rule is what? We can move only one disk at a time. At one move, we can move only one disk at a time. Second rule is what? And which disks we can move? First rule is what? One disk at a time, and also that is the only topmost disk. You cannot move the two when there is one disk on the top of this disk. We can move only topmost disk. Okay. And the second rule, second most important rule is what? The larger disk may never be placed upon the smaller disk. You cannot place the smaller disks, like suppose you cannot place the 2 on the top of 3 or 1 on the top of 2 and 3. Only you can place the smaller disk on the top of the larger disk. Okay, and what we are going to do? We are going to move all these disks from A to C. And to move these disks, what we are going to do? We are going to use the another peg, that is B. So we have only 3 pegs, and we need to move all the disks from A to C. So let's see how we are going to do. So first, what I am going to do? I am going to move this 3, the disk number 3, to the top of the C. So here I move the disk number 3. So now from here we remove this disk. Now we have only 2. Then what I am going to do? I am going to move in the next iteration. What I am going to do? I am going to move the disk number 2 at the peg B. So again from here I remove this disk. So now at A we have only one disk, that is disk number 1. But what I want to do? I want to move this all disks to the C. Now at the next iteration, what I am going to do? I am going to move this disk number 3 from here to from C to B. So here what I am going to do? I am going to put the smaller disks on the top of the larger disks. We cannot move this larger disks on the top of the smaller disks. So what happened? Here comes your disk number 3. Now C becomes empty, like this. C will looks like this. So this is C, and this is B is look like this, and A is like this. So on the top of the A we have only one disk, that is disk number 1. Okay, this is what your B. B is look like this, and C is like this. Now what I am going to do? I am going to move this disk to the peg number C. Okay, So this will going to move at the top of the C. Okay. So disk number 1 is removed from here. Now your peg A is look like this. So peg 1A is empty now. Okay. Then what I'm going to do? I'm going to move this disk number 3 on the top of the A. So here I got A. So at the A, what I move? The disk number 3. And disk number B, peg number B is look like this. So here only one disk. And peg number C is look like this. So here we have only one disk, that is disk number 1. Now what I am going to do? In the next iteration, I am going to move this disk number 2 on the top of the C. So what we will get in the next? So here comes your disk number 1 and we move now disk number 2 on the top of the C. So here comes 2. And now B is empty. Now peg B is empty and C having 1 and 2 on the top of the C. And at the last iteration, what we are going to do? We are going to move this disk number 3 on the top of the C. So here we get 3. So in this way, what we did? We remove all the disks from A to C. And we follow all the rules. The first rule is what? We only can move only one disk at a time. And it must be the top disk on a tower. So this is what a best example of stack. Application of stack. A larger disk may never be placed upon the smaller disk. We never place any larger disk on the top of the smaller disk. And in this way we move all the elements from all the disks from the peg A to peg C successfully. So you can see that. So this is what the another application of stack, Tower of Hanai. This is what another application of stack, Tower of Hanai. So you may as a homework, what you are going to do? We are going to move this disk, that is disk number 1, disk number 2, disk number 3 and disk number 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So now we have 4 disks, 3 peg. And what we are going to do? What we are going to do? We are going to move all the disks from peg A to peg C. So now what we are going to do? You are going to try this at your home and follow the rules. So this is what a small puzzle. Okay. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.